So some people calling it shifty leaks. Now we've been or at least I've been calling it that. We have been staying away from the latest Russiagate story because we don't want to encourage them. It is so obviously based on the timing intended as a distraction from the Epstein files. No sooner did they say, nothing to see here, and MAGA explodes, than they put Tulsi out in front of the cameras with these files. Also, because Trump's administration is made up of just absolutely shameless degenerates who will do anything that they're told. You can't really trust anything that they tell you. And any evidence they're producing, you're just going to have to give it some time to know what was true, because you can't trust them by definition. They're not honest actors. That having been said, I will cover this one because it's Adam Schiff. And if there's anyone who is guilty of intentionally leaking false information to the press to gin up a Russophobic hysteria, it is Adam Schiff.
Yes.
So here's Adam Schiff on The View. You might remember this. This was not too long after the election, when he got called out on his Russiagating by Alyssa Farah Griffin.
We learned that the Trump campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, was giving internal polling data, campaign polling data, to Russian intelligence while Russian intelligence was helping the Trump campaign.
And to be clear, he was fired halfway through the campaign.
Well, he may have been fired, but the effort to get Russian help continued, and even beyond the effort to get Russian help.
But you
the
may
president
help
also
spread Russian
sought to get
disinformation yourself for years by promoting this. I think that's what Republicans and what people who entrusted you as the Intel Committee chair are so confused about your culpability in all of this.
Well, I completely disagree with your premise. It's one thing to say allegations should be investigated, and they were. It's another to say that we should have foreseen in advance that some people were lying to Christopher Steele, which is impossible, of course, to do. But let's not use that as a smokescreen to somehow shield Donald Trump's culpability for inviting Russia to help him in the election, which they did, for trying to coerce Ukraine into helping him in the next election, which he did, into inciting an insurrection, which he did. None of that is undercut. None of that serious misconduct is in any way diminished by the fact that people lied to Christopher Steele.
No, I think just your credibility is.
No. Oh, burn. Yeah. Adam Schiff is arguably the absolute worst Russiagator in the country this side of Rachel Maddow. He claimed that very famously that he had seen the smoking gun. And then after the Mueller report, it became obvious there was no such smoking gun. If there was a smoking gun, it would have been produced in the Mueller report, right? So at that point, you know that he lied. You know that he lied. He literally told people he has access to information that they can't reveal to the public, but he has seen the smoking gun. Now, we're not fans of the Trumpster around here, but when he's right, he's right. And this was a point that many made. We made it. You want to say that it's treasonous what they did in regards to making these false claims about Russiagate? Yeah, it's treasonous in the sense that clearly they hampered the ability of the chief executive to conduct foreign policy with Russia. That has very broad implications. Not only did they make it basically impossible for Trump to turn down the temperature with Russia, they were actively advocating for an increase in tensions with a nuclear power. You could definitely interpret that as treasonous in spirit, if not in law. So here he is addressing that a little bit because he was asked about, because he's going to be meeting with Putin today, I believe.
I think tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
I think so. I think it's Friday.
Oh, right, Friday. I was thinking it was Friday. So he's
our
going to be
Friday.
meeting. It's all right. That's why I thought it was Friday, because it's the end of our work week. So he was asked a little bit about this, and he rightly points out, yeah, I got along with him, but, it made it very hard.
No, because I would have had a good conversation with Vladimir. I knew him very well. I got along with him great, actually. We had I had to go through the Russia hoax. And it was actually, it was a strain on the relationship. I actually told him, I said, they got this phony investigation going on, Russia, totally phony, created by Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, and Hillary Clinton and the whole group of them. And it made it very dangerous for our country because I was unable to really deal with Russia the way we should have been. I'm looking at Pam because I hope something's going to be done about it. These people put our country at great danger. And Adam Schiff, it was all made up. It was a hoax. The Mueller report came out. They all hated me. They had 18 Trump haters. And they said I did nothing wrong. They couldn't believe, they couldn't find anything after years of investigation. It was all a hoax. It was a hoax created by the Democrats, but in particular Schiff and Crooked Hillary, the whole group. And now we've learned all the stuff that's come out over the last 2 months is incredible through intelligence. And hopefully something's going to happen with it. These are people that put our country in danger, in real danger.
Okay. Hey, when he's right, he's right. And part of what was so maddening about Russiagate was, if you were paying any kind of attention, a lot of us said, you're making Donald Trump a victim. Like, you're not neutralizing him politically. You're making him much more powerful,
Right.
Because you're making yourselves repulsive by comparison. So here's Adam Schiff responding to this. Trump is playing his greatest hits, going after me and Hillary Clinton. Never gets old. He hates the fact that I stand up to him and point out his continued failings, out of control costs, historic corruption, and still no sign of the Epstein files. Well, man, you could say all of those things apply to all of the Democratic administrations that you cheerleaded, and a lot of people have pointed out they're not wrong, that no one was calling for Joe Biden to release the Epstein files, which he certainly could have. But he didn't make that core to his political identity. See, that's the danger of doing that.
That's the difference, yes.
So here's Crazy Eyes Kash Patel, famous children's book author, in which he cast himself as a wizard protecting King Donald. Totally reliable source of information, but I think he's probably onto something here for a change. We found it. We declassified it. Now Congress can see how classified info was leaked to shape political narratives and decide if our institutions were weaponized against the American people. All right, so exclusive. Democrat whistleblower told FBI that Schiff okayed leaking classified intel to hurt Trump. This is Slay Magazine. They did the kind of best summary of it. A newly declassified FBI report reveals that a Democrat insider accused then Representative Adam Schiff of approving the leak of classified information to damage President Donald Trump during the discredited Russiagate scandal. According to the report, Democratic Representative Eric Swalwell helped Schiff leak the classified material as part of an effort to promote the Russia hoax. The whistleblower is reportedly a career intelligence officer who worked for Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee for more than a decade. So this is a little bit of the report. Jim Jordan put out this page saying, according to a whistleblower, Adam Schiff approved the leak of classified information to target President Trump. How is this not on the front page of the New York Times? Hey, man, as I said, I'm very skeptical of any information that comes out of this group, but he's got a point. He's got a point. If the parties were flipped and this were released, they'd be all over it. And I don't think I saw any mainstream reporting on this. So this is from the report itself. When working in this capacity, redacted, was called to an all-staff meeting by Schiff. In this meeting, Schiff stated the group would leak classified information, which was derogatory to POTUS, Donald J. Trump. Schiff stated the information would be used to indict President Trump. Redacted stated this would be illegal, and upon hearing his concerns, unnamed members of the meeting reassured Redacted that they would not be caught leaking classified information. Redacted was again approached about leaking classified information in a separate meeting by unnamed individuals. Redacted believed this activity to be unethical and treasonous. Redacted was concerned about the discussions and as a result reached out to contacts from his prior Redacted employment for guidance on where to report this experience. These discussions led Redacted to contact the FBI regarding his concerns. Redacted had several conversations with two unnamed FBI agents related to the matter and was eventually invited to attend a mock jury. Going back to Slay magazine, the officer repeatedly told the FBI beginning in 2017 that Schiff authorized the leaks to falsely portray Trump as compromised by Russia. The FBI 302 interview reports were obtained by Just the News. They're the ones that broke the story. If you want to read the full thing, it's in Just the News. The officer alleged that Swalwell was one of the sources of the leaks. At the time, Schiff was the ranking member and later the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, the whistleblower told the FBI as recently as 2023 that the Justice Department showed no interest in investigating Schiff. According to the report, Schiff justified the leaks by claiming he was protected under the Constitution's speech and debate clause. The whistleblower is a registered Democrat who described himself as a friend to both Schiff and former Republican intelligence chairman Devin Nunes. The intelligence officer also claimed Schiff had been promised the position of CIA director if Hillary Clinton had won the 2016 election. Shortly after reporting Schiff's actions to the FBI, that would have been great, the whistleblower was abruptly fired. Officials told Just the News that DOJ leaders at the time echoed Schiff's defense, declining to pursue charges. No public opinion from the Attorney General or Solicitor General has been found confirming that such leaks would be protected under the Constitution. So Trump, of course, jumped on this. Just out, the irrefutable proof that Adam Shifty Schiff approved plan to leak classified information to damage Donald Trump. And Adam Schiff replies, "Sorry, Donald, wrong again. Even Barr's Justice Department rejected that false smear years ago. But while we were on the subject of confidential information, how about releasing those Epstein files? We are still waiting." See, I feel about this the way I feel about conservatives arguing about gender. You're discrediting the whole subject by inserting yourself into it.
Right.
If there's any group of people who could make people decide they don't want to talk about the Epstein files, it would be Adam Schiff and company.
Right. Yeah,
by
exactly,
using it this way. They're gonna overplay it by deploying it to deflect from their own crimes to the point that people say, forget about it. So this is famous hot for Trump advocate here, Jeanine Pirro. If you ever saw her press conference with him, it was almost like pornographic, the way she was looking at Donald Trump. Here she is on Benny Johnson's show, recently renamed Benny in the Closet, talking about what she'll do with these files.
You know what, Benny? I think you know that this is my wheelhouse. And the difference between me and some other people is that I don't talk about what I'm investigating. I don't talk about what I'm doing. When I have the evidence, when I have enough to go forward, you will hear from me loud and clear.
Okay, so this is so Just the News got a response to this from Adam Schiff the day after the story was published. This is what he said. Kash Patel's latest smear against Senator Schiff is absolutely and categorically false and is just the latest in a series of defamatory attacks from the president and his allies meant to distract from their plummeting poll numbers and the Epstein file scandal, Schiff told Just the News. These baseless smears are based on allegations that were found to be not reliable, not credible, and unsubstantiated from a disgruntled former staffer who was fired by the House Intelligence Committee for cause in early 2017, including for harassment and potentially compromising activity on official travel for the committee. Schiff added, even Trump's own Justice Department and an independent inspector general found this individual to not be credible, have little support for their contentions, and was of unknown reliability, and concluded that his accusations against members of Congress and congressional staff were not ultimately substantiated. Now, the independent investigator he's talking about was Michael Horowitz, I believe, who did reveal some of the way that they used the Steele dossier without revealing its origin in order to get the FISA warrants. So, you know, he did expose some of the Russiagate stuff. With this, from the research I was able to do, Schiff is overstating it. The impression I got from what reporting has been done on this is that Horowitz decided they couldn't prove it, so it wasn't really worth pursuing it, that it was a he said kind of a thing, that this guy didn't really bring any evidence. His claim that he was fired because he was considered insufficiently loyal and because he was questioning this leaking tactic sounds a lot more credible to me, especially when the person you're talking about is Adam Schiff. Now, some people have pointed out that Schiff was one of the people who got the blanket pardon for his acts on the January 6th committee, but that doesn't cover Russiagate. However, most legal theories would suggest that this is beyond the statute of limitations. If there's any crew that's not going to stop, it's this crew. If they can find any way that they can prosecute him, they will. I am going to go out on, I don't feel that much of a limb here, and I'm going to say they're going to charge Adam Schiff. One way or another, they're going to charge that guy. If there's any face of Russiagate, aside from Rachel Maddow, that they would really want to get, it would be him. I think they'll find even if it doesn't hold up in court, they're going to charge that guy.
Yeah, I think they probably will too. And, you know, when it comes to guys like Schiff and, you know, even people higher up who you probably don't have anything on, right? You know, if by going after his political opponents, you meant, you know, finding out exactly what these people knew and what they lied about and how they sought to undermine not just Donald Trump, but U.S.-Russia relations, like, I don't think most people would have an issue with that. I don't think most people would have an issue with, hey, you know what? If you're going to drain the swamp and actually hold some of these criminals feet to the fire for their crimes, then I think people would be, for the most part,
sure
on board with that. You know, it would taste little sweeter. Well, yeah, it would taste a little sweeter if while doing that, you actually ended the Ukraine war, which you promised to do. You actually ended the Gaza genocide. You actually respected the free speech rights of students to criticize Israel if they want without locking them in ICE jail for 104 days. If you actually kept your promise not to gut Medicare, Medicaid, and the social safety net, if you actually weren't federalizing city police forces, like if you weren't doing all of these things and just going after these people, I don't think most people would have any real issue with it. And I think people would probably welcome it. You'd have a lot more people on your side, because it would actually take on the character of a legitimate anti-corruption crusade.
Right.
But when
Exactly.
you run the administration the way it's been run, this just plays as more self-serving. And it's not to say that there aren't legitimate cases against some of these people. I think there probably is a legitimate case against Adam Schiff, right? Politically, it's really difficult, even as someone who is, generally sympathetic to all the points, it's hard to really rally behind it.
Yeah.
Because what is it in service of?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You're just, and we saw this very early on. I really saw it when I audiobooked the Kash Patel book on my way out to Seattle, because so many people were bringing it up. You got to read his book. You got to read his book.
Right.
So I wasn't going to read it, but I listened to it on the plane. And yeah, it was very clear to me that his idea of cleaning up the deep state was going to be getting rid of the Dem operatives and replacing them with people who were just as corrupt, who were going to serve Donald Trump like himself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Please clap.